Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Peyton Anderson back with Next Level Athletes. Today, I have the pleasure to announce our guest on today's podcast, Rich Byhre. Rich spent the last few seasons at Rockhurst, where he saw himself earn 2022-23 NABC Division II All-American Team honors, as well as a career high of 37 against Truman State this past season. Fast forward to now, Rich recently saw himself commit to Green Bay. Rich, first of all, thanks for taking the time to come on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me, Peyton. I'm looking forward to it.
Of course. And let's start with your recruitment out of high school. You originally saw yourself commit to Rockhurst. Talk us through what led you to make that decision, but also reflect on what you learned most from the recruitment experience as a whole.
Yeah, it's a good question. So it's kind of a long story. Throughout my whole life, I've always been really into baseball and basketball. I played travel baseball growing up and then AAU basketball most of my life. And was always more known as a baseball player. And then once I got into high school, I became better at basketball and my love for the game took off. So I was really in a tough predicament between wanting to play baseball or basketball in college. But an elbow injury and then my desire for basketball grew fonder, and I decided to play basketball. And so going into my senior season, I had a really good AU season. I had a lot of schools on my radar, and then unfortunately, I suffered a torn ACL meniscus in my knee, and my senior season was wiped out. And so a lot of the schools shied off and took away their offers and interest. But one school and one coach in particular that stayed faithful to me was Coach Diener here at Rockhurst, and he gave me an incredible opportunity and offered me a scholarship. I came down on my visit. I really liked the school. I liked the program. I like what he had to offer, and it was a really good opportunity.
Of course. And I'm looking back at your high school career. You were a three-time All-Conference in basketball and two-time All-Conference in baseball. You were talking before you suffered an injury 2 games into your senior season, but as a junior, averaged 17 and 8 a game. First off, what would you say is your all-time favorite memory?
I would say my all-time favorite memory comes from baseball. I was lucky enough to play with my brother on the baseball team, and he was a pitcher, and I was a pitcher too. But we were both pretty good hitters. He was actually a better hitter than I was. But so he hit fourth in the lineup, and I hit third, and we were playing one of the best teams in the state. And I hit a home run to tie the game, and then he hit a walk-off home run. It was just a really cool experience. Cool for my family to be there and see it. Cool for us to do it together. And it was just a really awesome experience.
Of course. And secondly, did being a multi-sport athlete in high school translate at all over to your preparing and your adjustment to basketball at the collegiate level?
100%. I mean, I played first base my whole life, and to play first base, you got to have good hands. So I play in the post a lot, and you got to have good hands in the post, be able to catch the ball at different angles, use your left hand, use your right hand, and really, really helped me throughout my career. And I feel like it's something that I have an advantage over a lot of guys who just focused on one sport their whole life.
And third, who would you say was the best teacher you had in high school that helped you the most, but also anything else you miss about being in high school in general?
That's a really good question. That's a tough one. Gotta say my baseball coach, he was really, really supportive of me playing multiple sports. He put me in a lot of good positions to succeed, but also he cared about me, not just me, but other guys off the court too. Like he came to a lot of my basketball games, supported me, because obviously basketball season would go into baseball season, so he'd let me miss open gyms to go to basketball practices, and just playing for him was a really motivational, inspirational guy, and just learned a lot from him.
Mm-hmm. And moving forward, you sat out the 2019-2020 season as a medical redshirt. How would you summarize that experience and having to sit out, but also talk us through what you learned most, as well as what that season taught you the most in terms of basketball and getting back to 100%?
It was really frustrating. It was a really tough decision I had to make because my knee just wasn't ready to go live and play against live competition. So I wanted to be out there more than anything with my teammates, but it was good. Obviously, the thing I focused on most was being there best I could, whether that be challenging my teammates in practice or getting waters for the guys coming out of the game. But I think looking back, hindsight's obviously 2020. It was probably the best thing for me because I saw what I needed to improve on and needed to work on. Coming from high school to college, I'd say the biggest things were the speed of the game and the physicality. The physicality is just there's a lot of you get, especially being a big man and playing in the post. There's a lot that you just don't see without watching from the sidelines and just being hit, playing through contact. And I would say scouting reports is a big thing too. I mean, in high school, you can get away with doing stuff because the film isn't as easy accessible. And in college, I mean, every single coach, every player knows everything about your game, between
Yeah.
your counters to your moves, where you can shoot it from, your weak spots, your good hand, where you want it, where you want to catch it. And so I'd say playing off of that and just learning to be more versatile and just playing my game is just one of the main things I learned.
Mm-hmm. And looking back at this past season with Rockhurst, you saw yourself nearly average 18 a game, while shooting nearly 57% on twos and 40% from beyond the arc. How would you best summarize how last season played out?
Overall, I'd say last season played out pretty well. I mean, obviously we didn't finish the way we wanted to, but our team in particular had a big chip on our shoulder because we were picked to finish last in the conference by every single coach, which could mean a couple things. Obviously, it was a little embarrassing, but at the same time, it was kind of a slap in the face, like, hey, no one believes in us, no one thinks we're going to be
Mm-hmm.
good. So that was kind of our motto before every game: was this coach picked us to finish last, and we finished fourth place, which is our best conference finish in, I think, 8 or 9 years. But we had a 5 or 6 win increase as a team. Saw a lot of guys have great moments and great games throughout the year. And for me personally, it was just I was given a great opportunity to be a main feature of the offense, and coach put me in a lot of good positions to succeed. And then once the scouting report on me came out, a lot of other guys on our team stepped up, and so we just did a really good job of playing off of each other and getting each other's comfortable spots.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking into this current off season. What would you say you're focusing and paying attention most in your training, in order to be able to take your game and skill set to the next level?
I would say ball handling. I mean, there's always things to improve on. I can improve on my shot, my quickness, lateral quickness, defensively, but I would say ball handling at the next level. A lot of guys 6'7", 6'8" can handle the ball, and the better you can handle it, the more you differentiate yourself. And one thing for me is I don't ever want to be reduced to a specialist. I think being more versatile just opens up a lot of weapons for the offense, not just for you, but your teammates and coaching staff as well. So if I can specialize in not just one thing, but ball handling, shooting, rebounding, passing, I feel like it'll create a lot of avenues for my teammates.
Of course. And when reflecting on your career at Rockhurst in its entirety, what did you take away most from the program?
I took away a lot of lessons. I mean, I came in as an 18-year-old kid who had never been far from home before, never left the state of Wisconsin, didn't know anybody. It was pretty scary because, I mean, the day I left my house, I never met a single person on campus. But I just attribute a lot of my success and a lot of my happiness down here to a great team culture to be around, a great coaching staff, and a lot of lessons I learned is just that I was an introverted guy in high school. I didn't go out of my way. Wasn't a big partier. Wasn't a big going out, meeting people. But as you go to college and there's people similar to you and meet cool experiences and go out, I think going out of my comfort zone and meeting new people was one of the best things for me. And going to a school far away where I had no choice but to meet new people was something that was really beneficial for me.
And secondly, what did it mean for you to be able to put on the Rockhurst uniform, for technically 4 seasons, including your season you sat out, and be a successful player coming out of that program?
For me, it meant a lot. I mean, I was fortunate to come in and play behind some really, really good players. So I saw the template that they put out for me to follow. And not only is it a good basketball program, but an incredible academic school, because whenever I'm out to dinner, just out in the city, and someone asks me where I go to school and I say Rockhurst, they look at me with a smile and say, wow, you must know what you're doing, because it's a really, really highly regarded school. And so to be able to put that jersey on just meant a lot, because I know a lot of proud alumni come to our games, support the program, and it's a place that people come back to because it's a place where you're destined for success.
And third, what would you say has changed most, not only about your game and skill set, but also yourself as an individual when comparing your first day at Rockhurst, to your last day?
I would say a lot of it is mentality. When I got in, I wasn't a super confident guy. If I missed my first shot in the game or practice, I'd be like, wow, today's not my day. I'm gonna just be super passive and not take any shots. But once I had some success in the games, particularly my second season when I put up some good numbers, and my coaching staff believed in me, and even if I hadn't have a good game, they'd still put me in positions and opportunities to go out and score. I would just say, no matter what, it's important to stay level-headed and stay confident. Your mentality, obviously, skill set and how much work you put in goes a long way, but your mentality is also huge. So I would just say my mentality is taken off to where I'm the most confident guy on the court now.
course. And I'm looking forward in the present time. You saw yourself recently transfer and commit to Green Bay under new coach Sundance Wicks. Talk us through the transfer experience. What stood out to you most, but more importantly, what ultimately led you to commit to Coach Wicks in Green Bay?
It was a crazy experience. I mean, I didn't know what to expect being in one place the past 4 years. So talking to my former AU teammates or former guys I played with in college, just picking their brain a little bit on the transfer portal, they just said, expect the unexpected. You know, a lot of schools may reach out, a lot of schools may not reach out. I was fortunate enough where a lot of schools reached out, but Coach Wicks put it best. I mean, it's like speed dating. You talk to one school, you think you have a good conversation, and then 2 days later, the guy commits to that school, and every conversation, everything you had, momentum you built up with that school is gone because that spot's gone. So there's definitely a sense of urgency to pick a school because I don't want to be one of those guys where it's May 1st, May 5th, and a lot of spots, a lot of rosters are taking shape. And I just had a really, really good conversation with Coach Wicks. His energy was radiant throughout the phone, and I could just see the vision he wants in the program. And I feel like I played with a guy in college, Nico Felici, who played with him at his previous school, and just said nothing but great things about him, the type of leader he is, the motivator he is, game planning, and just I want to be around a guy like that.
Hmm. And have you been in contact with any of the guys? What's the atmosphere like so far? But more importantly, how you felt since making that decision?
Yeah, I've been in contact with a couple guys trying to figure out housing and everything, and there's summer programs. And I think the consensus among all of us is just crazy excited to get up there. It's basically a brand new team with the exception of a couple guys, and we're all just really, really chomping at the bit to get the opportunity to represent Northeast Wisconsin's Division One program. We just can't wait to get up there.
Uh-huh. And when talking about recruitment, NIL deals, and everything else in between, it can be a lot to handle for a lot of athletes. So, in your own words, and you taking your own experience into account, what advice would you have to share with anyone wanting to take that next step and play collegiate sport, and what they should be aware of or look out for in particular when deciding to play for a school?
I would just say you got to want to play for the right reasons. Obviously, the financial aspect of it now today in 2023 is a great opportunity for many college athletes to make money off of their name. But at the same reason, you have to remember why you started playing the game and why you work so hard and how you've accomplished what you've accomplished. Because take me for example, the first couple of weeks I was in the portal, I had a couple of agents reach out and be like, "Hey, Rich, you could make this amount of money, that amount of money at this school, that school." And for a guy like me, I'd never been able to make NIL at college at Rockhurst. And thinking about those numbers, I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. But one thing that always came back to me was I didn't play basketball for the money. I didn't play basketball to earn those opportunities. I played basketball because I love it more than anything and for the hard work. So I would say to those in the portal is that you gotta want to play basketball for the right reasons and make it clear to the coach recruiting you that hey, the money is cool and everything, but I'm coming here to play basketball. I'm coming here to win and work hard.
Uh-huh. And now, when transitioning over to life off the court, what does a typical day look like for you during the season and the off season?
During the season, I'm definitely a creature of habit. I like to get in my routine, particularly on game days. So if I can sleep in, I like to sleep in. And I'll go to the gym and then do some biking or some stretching, and then a little bit of depending on the day of what kind of practice was, I'll do an upper body workout just to get ready for the game, and then maybe go in the hot tub, do some water exercises and some sauna stuff, and then I like to get to the game really early and get dressed. Typically drink a pre-workout, take some form shooting, get taped, eat really, really. I'm a really, really particular about how I eat. I don't like to eat much food. I like to play on an empty stomach. And then once the
Mhm.
game's over, I'll eat like 2,500, 3,000 calories and just hopefully celebrate a win.
Mm-hmm. And additionally, talk about your major. What is it about, but also why you chose it and what possibilities it might have in store for you in your future.
So I'm a sports marketing major. I'm currently finishing up an internship with the Boys and Girls Club in Kansas City Royals here in Kansas City. And I chose that because much like a lot of other kids, I didn't know what I wanted to do coming into college. I just knew I had to pick a major. I had to pick it soon. And my whole life, I've just loved sports. And as I got older, I love the marketing side of it. My dream job is to work in a front office. And I feel like as I've gotten older and as I've picked the brain of some scouts and some executives, I feel like I have capabilities to do that. And just getting my foot in the door, especially what I do right now, it's just a great chance to be able to do that, especially graduating from a very good academic school like Rockhurst. I feel like opens a lot of doors too.
Of course, and I'm looking deeper in your time at Rockhurst, including its basketball program. How would you describe what the program prides itself most on when it comes to their student athletes?
I would say battling through adversity. I mean, we are not blessed and fortunate with the best facilities, for the best treatment, or just a very high budget for the program. But Coach Diener did a great job of setting a culture and establishing a culture and just saying, hey, we might not have this, they might have that, but there's no excuse. Like we got to find a way no matter what to persevere, whether it be gym time being limited or busing being limited. I think collectively as a team, we would use that as motivation to feel to just work harder than everyone else. And I think it grew us a lot together in the locker room as well.
Of course. And when taking a look into Green Bay and its program as a whole, you're one of many new faces in the program as well as a new head coach in Sundance Wicks. What do you feel you're bringing and adding to this program, both as an athlete and individual?
I feel like the biggest thing for me is whether it be off the court or on the court leadership. I've been in college for 4 years. I've been around the block. Granted, not at the Division I level, but I've seen a lot of basketball. I've seen a lot of off court instances, and I feel like my leadership, serving as a team captain at Rockhurst, and just seeing what I've seen go a long ways in helping jumpstart the career of transfers or freshmen or anyone that may be. And I feel like we have a lot of experienced upperclassmen coming in, and I feel like we collectively can jumpstart a program headed in the right direction.
And adding on to this, what role do you want to take on now that you have a lot of collegiate basketball experience behind you going into this new chapter of your life and career now at Green Bay?
Yeah, I mean, I told Coach Wicks, I don't care if I'm the leading scorer, second guy off the bench, sixth man, fifth guy on the bench. I'll do whatever it takes to win. I mean, I've experienced a little bit of winning this year. My first couple of years of college, we kind of gradually built a winning program, and I want to be able to compete for Horizon League championships and ultimately play in the NCAA tournament. So whatever, as cliche as it sounds, whatever it takes to win, because there's nothing better than chasing that feeling.
Of course. And while on the topic, knowing you're aware of Green Bay's rough past several seasons, as well as an overall record of 3-29, with a conference record of 2-18 this past season, what can fans and others expect from yourself and the program as a whole going forward, not only in the next season, but beyond that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a fine line of being cognizant of the past and focusing on the present and future. Like I said earlier, a lot of guys from that roster aren't coming back, and the guys who are coming back are good scorers, very talented, and really hard workers. And I know for a fact, just being in contact with a couple guys, that we have some really, really hard workers and hungry guys who, if given the right opportunity, are going to come in and make a positive impact right away. So I feel like just not even having one practice with the guys and knowing Coach Wicks and knowing the coaching staff is that we're not going to be outworked by anyone in the country, whether that be playing a team more talented than us, better size than us, better shooting. I feel like one thing that's going to step out above the rest is how hard we work and how bad we want it.
Of course. And in other words, what do you feel must happen in order to be able to feel you and the program itself start trending upward and building up a fan base and excitement for the basketball program moving forward?
I feel like we need to have the same vision, same goal. I feel like everyone needs to be on the same page from day one, and everyone needs to see eye to eye on what we want to accomplish collectively as a team, and everyone has to know their role and be a star in their role.
Hmm. And I'm looking at the NIL world and opportunities. Is there any brand or company you're interested in and want to partner with in the future?
That's a good question. I mean, I've been in contact with a couple NIL agents, and they've pointed me in the direction of potential opportunities, especially being a Wisconsin guy. Part of the appeal of coming home was to play closer to home, but also having a bigger brand in Wisconsin because I'm more well known there. And I feel like if I were able to explore some opportunities, whether it be in the Green Bay area or more central Wisconsin, I feel like that'd be something I could really exploit and really do a good job at.
Of course. And looking back into life off the court, how would you describe yourself not only as an athlete on the field, as an individual off the court, but also what you pride yourself most on in life?
I pride myself on being someone who's just going to be there for another guy, whether that be in life, family, basketball, non-basketball, non-sports, non-athletics. I mean, one thing you control is your effort and your attitude. And if you're known as a reliable guy, that's something I want to be known for. I feel like you can ask my teammates what kind of guy I am, and they'll say, Rich Byhre is this. He'll show up every day, give everything he has to the fullest. He may not be the most athletic, most explosive, fastest, quickest, but we know he'll do whatever it takes. And he's one of the most reliable people I know.
Uh-huh. And additionally, where on campus would you say you're most looking forward to spending a majority of your time at besides the athletic facilities?
See, I've only seen campus one or two times. So other than the athletic facilities, I'm not really sure what they have up there. What I'm really looking forward to is playing at the Rec Center. I mean, I went to a couple games there as a kid, and playing in an arena that size is just going to be surreal. I mean, hopefully we'll get it filled up, especially with some team success. But I'm really, really, really looking forward to playing there.
Of course. And when talking about accomplishments, what is something off the court you're most proud of yourself for, whether that be academically, socially, or something different?
I would say my name. I mean, I was named after my grandfather who recently passed away, and from the time I was born to the time of his death, we had a really, really special relationship. And I've told him and told people multiple times, there's not a single person in this world I'd rather be named after, because he was the best role model hero I could ever ask for, and gave me so many life lessons and so many things I can carry with me, not only on the court but off the court. And most thing I'm proud of is being named after him.
Of course. And when looking at the next level, such as the NBA, G League, or even overseas, if you're asked by a scout or coach what you're capable of, what you can add to a roster, but also why they should look into you specifically, how would you respond?
I would say I'm going to come in and work. I'm going to come in and prove myself every single day, whether that be scoring 30 points in a game before or scoring 0 points. The work and prove myself is something that's going to have to be earned every day. And whatever role I'm given, whatever role is asked of me, I'm willing to do. And I'm not going to be outworked by anybody, because, like I said, I was not born or blessed with the best jumping abilities or quickness. And so I feel like I've always been a guy who wanted more. I've had that chip on my shoulder. I mean, the day after I tore my ACL, every single coach in school except for one pulled their scholarship or pulled their offer. So I've had that in the back of my mind my whole career. And every summer I've gone removed from my injury, I've improved drastically as a player and as a person from my injury. And I've used that as fuel, and I'm continuing to do that.
Hmm. And when I'm thinking of the people that mean the most to you in your life growing up, who would this or these people be for you specifically? But also, if they were to be listening, what would you have to share with them?
I alluded to earlier, my grandpa was obviously huge in my life. I mean, he lived 5 minutes away most of my life, so I'd go to his house a lot on the weekends, and just having great conversations with him, bouncing great ideas off of him. And then obviously my parents. My parents have been incredible through everything, particularly in my injury and the tough decisions I've had to make in my life. You know, when you're young, you have a big decision to make. All you can think of is now. You don't really think of the future. You just kind of freak out about, I really hope I don't make the wrong decision. You're bouncing, everything's going one way and out the other through your mind. And my parents have just been incredible and so supportive through everything, particularly being in this transfer portal. They've just supported me on everything. They've given me really good advice, and they've always been there for me.
Of course. And additionally, what would you say has been the most meaningful piece of advice that you've gotten so far in your life?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What would you say has been the most meaningful piece of advice that you've gotten so far in your life?
That's a good question. I had dinner with a former teammate of mine last week, and he said something that really stuck with me. He said, "If people aren't laughing at your dreams, they're not big enough." And that really stuck out to me, because dreams are meant to be preposterous, dreams are meant to be big, but dreams are also meant to be attainable by working as hard as you possibly can. And if someone isn't laughing at them, someone's not motivating you to achieve those.
Uh-huh. And when it comes to off the court, what is something you want to be able to advocate and use your platform to advocate for?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What is something you want to be able to advocate and use your platform to advocate for?
I just want to be a role model for those around me. I mean, growing up, I idolized so many athletes, so many college athletes, especially in the state of Wisconsin, whether it be on the Badgers, the Brewers, the Bucks, or Packers. And I currently coach a T-ball baseball team, and I know those kids look up to me. I just have so much fun playing with them, and so I want to be that guy who so many guys for me growing up, just seeing those guys going in the backyard, trying to dunk like Frank Kaminsky, trying to dunk like Giannis, trying to hit home runs like Ryan Braun, trying to throw touchdowns like Aaron Rodgers. I want to be a guy, not that it has to be at the professional level, but be a role model for kids. Be like, hey, I want to be like Rich Byhre.
Uh-huh. And when your collegiate career eventually comes to an end, how do you want to be remembered most for during your time, not only with Rockhurst, but also with Green Bay?
I want to be remembered as a guy who came in and ran with the opportunity he was given. I mean, I've been fortunate and blessed to have a very good career so far to this point, and I know I'm far from it. But without some of the people in my life who give me those opportunities, I would just feel like a piece of advice I'd give is that opportunities are far from and limited. So with the ones you're given, you got to run and take it with them. You got to work as hard as you can in the moment to achieve those.
Of course. And last question. When things are all said and done, what do you think you'll miss most about being in college and having the opportunity to play basketball not only at Division 2 but also at the Division 1 level?
As simple as it sounds, I'm just gonna miss the locker room camaraderie. I mean, just we all go through the grind, we all go through the struggle together, the tough days, the good days, celebrating wins, the tough losses. I just the feeling of being in a locker room and being a part of a brotherhood together. There's just not many feelings better from it, and being able to relate with so many college athletes, whether it be from, I mean, some of my best friends I've got from the sport, from America, from Europe, from Australia. I mean, it's just been awesome to be able to meet and develop such great relationships with my teammates.
Of course. Once again, Rich Byhre, Green Bay forward. Rich, really appreciate you taking the time today and wish you the best with your future.
Thanks for having me. It was a good time.
Of course.